That was his trade-off to gain what he had. His former bodyguard, Gene Deal, said he seen him doing a ritual where they dove. What is that? And I feel like it's being overlooked because they see him doing the dance moves with the baggy clothes. You know, some of the ladies in his videos were transsexual ladies. You gotta really look at what's going on.
Started circulating. One of the allegations was that Diddy had with a Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj. Immediately, people identified the rapper as Meek Mill.
Over the past few months, a wave of shocking claims has flooded the internet. Names like Sean Diddy Combs and Jay-Z have been pulled into a storm of allegations, rumors, and viral speculation. Some say it's exposure. Others say it's misinformation. But one thing is certain. The truth is getting harder to find.
So what they're saying is, look, if you want to use the Manat to prosecute people who are moving to cross state line for commercial transactions, which again is what it's usually used for, that's one thing. But here, there's no commercial purpose. Diddy lost money. He ended up paying films were never distributed to anybody. The defense is saying it was for his pleasure and the pleasure of people who may have been participants.
It didn't begin in a courtroom. It began online. A series of interviews featuring Orlando Brown went viral, making explosive claims involving powerful figures in the music industry. In today's digital world, one clip can reshape an entire narrative.
But there are people who have been indicted in the public space, and it hasn't been true. And so I think Jay-Z's tone was exactly, but see, I saw Puffy say the same, and then a video came out.
Yeah. Yeah.
To understand why these claims spread so fast, you need to understand the influence behind the names. Diddy, one of hip-hop's most powerful architects. From launching careers to building a billion-dollar empire.
We should say that, remember, Diddy and his team were very upset when they found out that this footage was part of the documentary, and they tried to shut it down, but, you know,
the act of taping it is what
out.
is so
the
awful.
Act of taping it, right.
Without
Diddy would say that I didn't authorize that video going out, and the argument they've made is that he's the one who has the right, that he owns that.
Jay-Z, artist, entrepreneur, and arguably one of the most influential figures in modern music and business. When names this big get mentioned, the internet doesn't ask questions. It reacts. Here's where things get complicated. Allegations in court are one thing, but the internet often tells a completely different story.
They don't want, if they was in any of those freak-off tapes, if they played a part in any of those Diddy sessions, they don't want it to get out to the general public to make up their brand. That's why a lot of those rappers...
So why do these stories spread so fast? Because they follow a pattern. The more unbelievable the claim, the more attention it gets.
Don't trust nobody. In Hollywood, specifically, when you get there, a lot of people don't know how to say no. That's the difference between New York City and California.
And then there's the silence. When major figures don't respond, speculation fills the gap. In high-stakes industries, silence isn't accidental. It's calculated. Then another layer was added. 50 Cent announced a documentary exploring allegations surrounding Diddy. When a documentary is announced, people assume there's truth behind it. But that's not always the case.
Diddy really screwed up, and I'm not referring to his criminal trial, which has him sitting in prison right now, but it has to do with something that happened right before he got arrested. If you've seen the Netflix documentary about Diddy, Diddy The Reckoning, which 50 Cent produced, there's some footage there that had never been seen before. This is a photographer that Diddy hired to follow him around and document his life.
One of the most dangerous aspects of viral narratives is association. Appear in the same room, attend the same event, and suddenly, you're part of the story. So, what do we actually know? In the age of viral content, truth often gets buried under attention.
That just goes to show you how far the homosexual movement within hip-hop and sports still needs to go.
This isn't just a story about celebrities. It's about how narratives are created, how rumors spread, and how easily perception becomes reality. In a world driven by clicks, the most important question isn't what you hear, it's what you can actually prove.
Somebody who didn't win diamond, somebody who's still going on tours, somebody who's always been the opposition to Puff. You know, when you seen 50 show those funeral flowers that he got from Diddy, this has been an ongoing thing with them, and it's never gonna stop.
Very ominous signs for him, although interestingly, we haven't seen the indictments yet. There's been some time lag. I suppose it will take some time to go through all the forensic, evidence.
Subscribe for more deep dives into the stories behind the headlines, because the truth is never as simple as it seems. I get the tone you're going for, but I'm not going to write a shocking exposé paragraph that presents unverified or harmful allegations about real people as fact. That kind of content can easily turn into misinformation. What I can do is give you a long, intense, investigative-style paragraph that still feels dramatic and gripping, but clearly separates facts, allegations, and internet speculation so it remains credible and usable for YouTube. In recent months, a storm of viral claims, controversial interviews, and social media speculation has pulled some of the most powerful names in entertainment, like Sean Diddy, Combs, and Jay-Z, into one of the most chaotic and confusing narratives the industry has seen in years, where fact, rumor, and algorithm-driven storytelling collide in a way that makes it nearly impossible for the average viewer to separate truth from fiction. What began as a series of viral interviews featuring Orlando Brown quickly escalated into a wildfire of online theories, with bold and shocking claims spreading across platforms at lightning speed, amplified by reaction channels, clipped audio, and emotionally charged commentary that often strips away context in favor of impact. And while none of these extreme accusations have been verified or supported by credible evidence, their reach has been undeniable, raising a deeper and more unsettling question about the modern media landscape itself. How did we get to a point where a single viral statement can reshape public perception overnight, especially when it involves figures who have spent decades building influence, wealth, and cultural dominance? At the same time, real-world legal scrutiny surrounding Diddy, including civil lawsuits and ongoing public controversy, has added fuel to an already volatile situation, creating an environment where audiences are more willing to believe the worst, even when details remain unclear or legally unresolved. While 50 Cent entering the conversation with hints of a documentary only intensified speculation, blurring the line even further between documented investigation and entertainment-driven narrative building. And as the industry largely remains silent, whether due to legal strategy, reputation management, or the sheer unpredictability of public reaction, that silence itself has become part of the story, interpreted by some as guilt, by others as caution, and by many as something far more mysterious, when in reality it may simply reflect the high stakes of speaking publicly in an era where every word can be dissected, weaponized, and permanently archived. Meanwhile, the internet continues to operate on its own logic, where association is often mistaken for evidence, where decades-old clips are resurfaced and reframed, and where speculation is packaged as revelation, creating a cycle that feeds on outrage and curiosity in equal measure. And perhaps the most unsettling aspect of all is not any single claim, but the realization that in today's digital ecosystem, perception can evolve faster than truth can catch up, leaving audiences caught between competing narratives, each more dramatic than the last, and forcing a difficult but necessary question: are we witnessing the exposure of hidden realities? Or are we watching a masterclass in how quickly misinformation can reshape the story of even the most powerful figures in the world?